my channel. Today's video is going to be a hair tutorial on this look right here. I love wearing my hair like this. I kind of like the look of those bohemian waves, effortless, beachy hair textured look. I have really fine thin hair and it doesn't grow very long, so I am wearing extensions in this look, but I try to get as much volume as I can just because my hair does not have a lot of volume. So if you struggle with fine hair or thin hair and cannot get volume, this hair tutorial is going to be perfect for you. It's kind of in between a bend in the hair and a full-on curl. When I do curl my hair, I always like to curl it like this. I love that kind of messy boho beach hair that kind of looks like, you know, you didn't really try to get that curl, it just maybe you slept on it or it's just naturally kind of messy. If you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. My name is Julia. Make sure to subscribe right here so that you can get notifications on when I upload new videos. I upload a couple times a week and would love for you guys to interact with me here. And also don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat. You can come along with me there on my daily life and behind the scenes. So if you want to see how I curl my hair like this, then just keep on watching. Alright, so I just washed and blow dried my hair, and I actually skipped the conditioner on this day. Just when I curl my hair is so fine and so straight that it gets really weighed down easily by conditioner. So sometimes when I curl my hair and I want it really voluminous, I just skip the conditioner, but I don't like to do this very often because it's definitely not good for your hair. It will get dry. Right when I get out of the shower, I will, you know, get dressed, put on lotion, and then I will apply about a golf ball size of mousse into my roots and kind of work it into my hair and just kind of let it dry for a second, and then I'll blow dry it once it's almost all the way dry. Alright, so I am going to be using hair extensions for today's tutorial. I like to wear hair extensions a lot just because I have super fine hair. It doesn't grow super long. It's really hard for me to grow my hair just because it's so fine and it's really prone to damage. So if I color it, if I put a lot of heat on it, it's just really hard on my hair and it just doesn't grow that long. So I love extensions. I wear them all the time, and the pair I'm going to be wearing today is just from Sally's, and they look like this. So I'm going to go ahead and put those extensions in and I will be right back. Perfect. Okay, so now we are ready to start curling, and I'm going to actually be using 2 curling irons today. Another reason being because my hair is so fine and straight, I actually have to curl it with a tighter, smaller wand in order for it to hold any sort of curl. So the extensions, on the other hand, are a lot more coarse. They're a different texture of hair. They curl easily. They hold curl easily. So I'm going to use a bigger wand on the bottom and then actually a smaller wand on the top. I'm going to be starting with the bigger wand, and that is the 1 inch, and this is a Babyliss Pro curling iron. I love this curling iron. I ordered it from Macy's.com. It's great. The smaller iron that I'm going to be using is actually just a Conair iron, and this is 3/4 of an inch. And I've used this curling iron for years. My sister and I started using it in high school, and is when, you know, people just started doing those kind of the wand wrap waves, and I don't know, it is so cheap. It's probably like $15, but it's one of my favorite curling irons, and it's nice and small for my hair to be able to hold a curl just because, like I said, it's so straight and so fine. So great curling iron if you're just wanting something affordable. I'm going to start by curling, just starting from the bottom and curling the first layer. So I'm just going to take a small section, and the first couple of layers are going to be extensions only. So I'm just going to use that single iron, and I don't really need to worry about having any of the fine hair in there. There is some kind of underneath against my neck, but I'm just not really going to worry about that. I want most of the volume on top anyways, so don't worry about it. I'm going to start just with a small 1 inch section, and I'm going to curl the first piece away from my face. And I'm going to use this just like a wand. Even though it has a clamp, I'm going to use it just like a wand. You don't need a specific curling wand to use it that way, so I'm just going to use it like that. And I'm just going to wrap the hair, and I'm leaving about 4, almost 5 inches out at the bottom. Now the hair extensions are going to curl much easier than probably your real hair, well, my real hair, depending on the hair type that you have. You probably know how it curls, but I'm not holding it very long at all, as you can see with the hair extensions, and you really have to leave that portion out at the bottom in order to get that kind of beachy effect. So you can see, you know, it's kind of a curl, but, you know, more like a bend, kind of an in-betweener. So I'm going to take another section, and the sections can be different sizes. They don't all have to be the same size. Honestly, getting like a bigger or a larger variety of, you know, section sizes, all of that stuff, it's just gonna make it more voluminous and more messy looking. So actually the next piece that I do, so this piece I'm actually gonna curl towards the face. So kind of every other section I want to reverse the direction that I'm curling, and this is just going to build up more volume. When you curl your hair all in one direction, it kind of starts to all blend together, and this way when all the hair is going in different directions, it's not going to be able to blend in together, and it's all going to, you know, stack on top of each other and kind of start to build more volume. Alright, and then same thing on the other side, and with the first piece closest to the center, I always like to curl those pieces in the middle, kind of away from the face. You can't even see it, but just because in the very, very back, I want, you know, the curls to come fold in together instead of, you know, kind of parting or anything. So I try to do the ones towards the very back center, away from the face. One tip for kind of getting that loose curl, and this is another really important thing, is you know, making sure that there's space in between the hair on the curling iron. So versus doing the curl like that, that's going to give you a really tight wave, versus, you know, making sure there's space in between the hair on the iron. Alright, so I'm going to take the next section down, and I always start with the first piece next to my face, always going away. One other thing too that I forgot to kind of explain is normally when you just naturally, let's say you just roll the hair around and you twist it, it almost starts to create a spiral as if the hair were twisting like that. So if you really watch it, you'll see how it starts to twist. And that definitely creates, you know, a certain type of curl that's really pretty, but it's just not what we're going for right now. So really make sure that the hair is flat. So you're really, you know, making sure that it's completely spread out, because that's going to give you more of that vertical bend versus that really, really curly kind of wave. When you start to get to that layer where the hair is mixing in with the extensions, just kind of curl them together. I mean, yes, my hair, some of the pieces that are getting mixed in with this hair right now are not going to hold as well because the iron is bigger, but I feel like kind of blending the two really helps the extensions blend with your real hair, just because you're curling them together, versus, you know, if you were to curl your hair extensions before you clip them into your hair, like curl everything separately, that kind of makes it a little bit more obvious. This way, the curls kind of blend, the hair is blended together in particular curls, and it just like meshes much better. So I'm just actually gonna kind of give that a brush through, because I'm seeing some pieces that are a little curly and I don't want it to get too curled, so I'm gonna kind of brush it out. And my extensions, I don't really find that they need hairspray. I feel like they hold curl so well, but I will put a little bit in. I'm just using a cheapo hairspray. It's the Got2B Blasting Freeze hairspray. I don't know. I don't use hairspray very often. I need to get a nicer one, but I'm just using this today. So I'm gonna use it super lightly. Like that's it. Moving on to the next layer. Okay, this is where you get to, well, where I get to my real hair. I'm gonna switch to that smaller iron, which is the 3/4 of an inch. And we're gonna use the same technique, but you kind of wanna play around with this one just because if the iron is smaller, it's going to create, you know, kind of like a smaller curl. But it always falls for me. So it's always gonna look a little bit more curly than that bottom layer, but I know it's gonna fall out anyways because I know how my hair is, so I don't really worry about it. And I'm just gonna curl the next section towards my face. And then for this layer, we're definitely gonna want a hairspray. I need to hairspray my hair in order for it to hold. It will still fall out, so I'm definitely gonna be way more generous with the hairspray on my real hair. Oh, this hairspray is stiff. It like won't move. Start in the back on the top, and like I said, I always want those two pieces in the back to go towards the center of my head, away from the face. You just kind of play around with the direction that you want the curls to go in certain sections, just because you know like your cowlicks and kind of how everything will rest on your head, where do things part. So just try and, you know, use your best judgment for your hair. The last couple at the, you know, kind of towards the front of my face, I like to curl completely away just because I don't want any coming towards my face, just quite right at the front. And then normally when I get to the front, so I like to leave the section near the front of my head kind of bigger. I've been doing kind of smaller pieces, but I like this one to be, you know, a couple inches thick. You can see it's a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to be much shorter with this one. I'm gonna just not hold it very long because I don't want my front pieces to be very curled. So just like that. Side, I'm just gonna leave that section a little bit bigger, and I'm just gonna not hold it for very long. So see, that's like a little bit straight. You know, I can just go back and just do it again to make it a little bit curlier, but I'd rather have that than have it be too curly. Perfect. Alright, so I'm just gonna give that top layer a spray. For my real hair, I wasn't really piecing out the curls with my fingers just because it doesn't hold very well, so I don't want to like put kind of the oils from my fingers on the hair too much. I like to let it cool, kind of like this. Like you can see, it looks kind of nasty and just like really kind of, you know, the curls are separated. It's very like junior high, middle school ringlets. You know what I'm talking about, crunchy AF. Anyways, okay, so next, in order to kind of get those to fall, I'm actually just gonna run a brush through it. So just be gentle. Spraying them, letting them cool completely before you brush them out is really gonna make sure that they are gonna hold long. So you can see that kind of pulled out the curls and made them a little bit messier, and you can see, you know, we kind of have that beachy look on bottom with the straight ends, which I love. I just love how it's kind of loose and messy. Next, I always like to go in the very back and just tease it a little bit because I like to have a little bit of volume at the roots. Another thing that I got so blessed with is no volume in my hair, so just gonna kind of tease it. And then sometimes I like to just go in the front on the sides, and I'll go in on like kind of the second layer and just tease at the root. Alright, and then if you really, you know, want some extra volume, you can actually go through and take your comb or your brush and just like tease the individual pieces, and that will really give you a ton of volume. And voila, you have your boho, messy, beach-inspired waves. I hope you guys enjoyed this hair tutorial. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have fine hair or straight hair or hair that does not curl and you have problems getting volume, please leave a comment down below of your holy grail products. I love finding things that actually work for my hair and kind of give them more volume and give them some life. So definitely leave that down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.